Good afternoon. All right, I need a home care. Good afternoon. There you go. I am April Verrett, and I am the proud president of SEIU Local 2015, the Long-Term Care Workers Union of California, where we represent 400,000 nursing home and home care workers throughout the great state. I also am the proud chair of the National SEIU Home Care Council that represents over 700,000 home care workers across our nation. I also serve as an international vice president on the SEIU International Executive Board. I am incredibly excited to be here today, joined by care champions who have been fighting tirelessly to bring about a change to our broken care system. We all know that care is essential, do we not? Yes. Care work makes all other work possible. And a first of its kind federal investment in care is going to pass out of this great Congress and Senate. And it is going to the president's desk, and it will be signed. Because care cannot wait. I said care cannot wait. We have waited too long. We will wait no longer. And we're here together because home care workers, workers that they stand in solidarity with, their consumers, our partners, our elected champions, our friends, and the women who do this work. All women, Black women, brown women, AAPI women, indigenous women, white women, immigrant women, polka dot women, purple wearing women. We have been written out, discounted, dismissed, diminished for far too long. We've been written out of our economy. We have been written out of labor laws. We need higher pay, we need stronger benefits, and we need a path to a union to ensure we have what we need to build power, to continue to advocate, to fight for ourselves, for the people that we care for those we loved, for our beloved community. Yeah. We're here because home care clients, seniors, children, people with disabilities need access to affordable quality care. And no one who needs care should have to wait for it any longer. And we are here in these hallowed halls because Congress has a once-in-a-generation chance to bring about a change that will not just lift up workers and consumers, but our whole entire economy. When you change the lives of caregivers and their consumers, you change our country. Yeah. By delivering on the Build Back Better plan that funds an unprecedented investment in home care and in turn our communities and our families. Together we stand at the precipice of creating hundreds of thousands of high quality union jobs that will help millions access affordable quality care. We say home care can't wait. Racial and gender justice can't wait. Our economy can't wait. It's time to deliver. And so today we are going to hear from four important group of stakeholders. We're going to hear from our elected champions who's doing the sausage making of making sure this package gets passed, and I'm going to introduce them as they come to the podium. We are also joined today by workers, we're joined today by consumers, and we're joined today by the important care champions who are a part of the Care Can't Wait Coalition who join us in this fight, because this is about home and community-based services, but it's about childcare, and it's about paid leave as well. So now I want to introduce our first speaker, and that is Senator Ron Wyden of the great state of Oregon. Senator Wyden chairs the Senate Finance Committee, super important, you all, super important. And my great friend Melissa sends her greetings. Senator Wyden has stepped up for care and nursing home workers throughout the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that workers throughout the country are respected, protected, and paid. He has always been an ally with us, and we're so happy to have him here today in our corner. Senator Wyden.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Let's give our leader another round of applause. I can't hear you. We've got a vote on, and I'm not going to filibuster, because you don't filibuster your friends. And I think we all understand that the last few years have been ever so hard. We have had to contend with a pandemic. We have had to fight back against efforts to turn back the clock on Medicaid. And democracy has been attacked right here on these grounds. I am here to tell you no more. No more. From this point on, we're playing offense. We're playing offense. And that's what our home and community-based services bill is all about. It's about a grassroots mobilization. Political change doesn't often start in the government buildings and trickle down. It's grassroots up. And here are some of the best messages. We know people want care at home, number one. Number two, this is a chance to do it in a way that is less costly than institutional care. And number three, this is a way to bring workers and families together. So I just want you to know, there's a vote I've got to run off to right now. But I'm going to be with you every single step of the day until home and community-based services is legislation that heads to the president's office for his signature. God bless.
Thank you so much, Senator. Go cast that vote. As I said, we're joined today here by essential home care workers from the great states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Virginia, and New York. Uh-oh, here they come, you all. Here they come. I am going to ask for you all's agility because, as you just heard, votes are taking place. And so I ask for your agility, and we're going to be fluid so that we can allow the electeds as they come in to speak so that we can get them in and out. And this actually, our next speaker really doesn't need an introduction. His leadership is so incredibly important, not just on the issue of home and community-based services and the care agenda, but like he's one of the movers and the shakers in this building. And I'm supposed to say something about him. And he's moving and shaking. I want to give him his just due. Oh, well, I'm going to freeball it. This is the amazing Senate Majority Leader from the great state of New York, Chuck Schumer. He is a friend to home care workers, and so glad to have his leadership. Thank you.
Introducing my senator, the champion of home care for healthcare workers, Chuck Schumer.
Moving and shaking with this great SEIU NDWA home care rally. Thank you for having me. I thank my colleagues for being here. And I want to thank my House and Senate colleagues, Wyden, Casey, Hassan, Jeffries, Lee, Lawrence, Schakowsky, and Dingell for participating in this great event. But most of all, I want to thank SEIU and particularly my New York 1199 folks. We worked very closely together last year when they might have all lost their jobs because COVID hit New York strong. We got the money and they all kept their jobs, and so many of them risked their lives, so many of you, during the height of COVID to keep people healthy. And you know a lot of people who risk their lives? I'm going to tell a story. Some of you have heard, Mary Kay has heard me tell it, of somebody who also risked his life to keep people healthy. His name is Recto. Recto is an immigrant, undocumented, and he's a home health care worker. And Recto, every day before COVID, would get on he lived in the Bronx, and he took care of 3 elderly people. They wouldn't have lived without him. They are on this earth, God's green earth, because of Recto. And every day, Recto would get on a bus in the Bronx and go to where they were and help them, and then go home. COVID occurred. The bus stopped running. Did Recto abandon these people? He could have. No. Is that you, Adrian? Hi, she's the one who introduced me to Recto. Can't tell with all these masks. He paid for a cab every day. Now, this man was not making much money. This man did not have spare change. But because he cared so much for the people who he knew depended on him, he did that every day. That's who our home health care workers are. By the way, that's who our immigrants are. That's who our undocumented immigrants are. Absolutely. So Recto is a great example of why we need to pass this great, great legislation. Every single day, tens of millions of elderly Americans, of sick Americans, of disabled Americans rely on home care workers and community-based workers to live their lives with dignity. Most of these immigrants, they have some things in common with Recto. They're immigrants and people of color. They have one thing not in common with Recto. They're mostly women. But they're essential parts of our communities, and I know we're hearing from some of these great workers today. And they've been nothing short of a life-saving force during COVID. COVID showed us a lot of things. I like to say that I give a speech on MLK Day, where I say Dr. King, with his lifted up a huge mirror on his broad shoulders, and with his conviction, his brilliance, his faith, his eloquence, he forced America to look into the mirror. And America didn't like what it saw. And it began the slow road to change, which are still on, of racial progress. Well, COVID, in a different sense, was that mirror. And it showed us all the weaknesses in our society, such as lack of good home health care, lack of good community-based service health care. And it also showed us the strengths of our society, the people who work there, like Recto, who are so dedicated to the people they serve, even though they get paid not the wages they deserve and earn. They're our heroes. For too long, they haven't been treated like heroes, and it's creating a crisis in our country. And by the way, for those fiscal conservatives in the room, anybody? This saves money. We heard on a Zoom that we did earlier that it costs about 1/4 of the cost to treat an elderly person, a disabled person in their home than it does when they're institutionalized. So it's going to save money, it's going to make people's lives better, and it's going to create millions of good-paying union jobs. So our goal here is threefold. I've said this before, but I'll repeat it because we have so many new people here. We want to expand the availability of HCBS services so we eliminate wait lists and ensure all patients can get the help they deserve. We want to improve the pay and labor standards to attract a high-quality workforce that can meet our nation's demand. And we want to increase federal funding for these services to a level that will encourage widespread, if not universal, uptake by the states. As Majority Leader, I am committed to making sure our reconciliation bill delivers these goals. So thank you for having me. Together, you on the outside, me on the inside, what a force. We're going to get this done. Si se puede. Thank you. And I will proudly wear, I gotta stretch it a little, my beautiful purple SEIU mask. And lest you think I'm sort of a dull dresser.
Look at those. Thank you so very, very much, Leader Schumer, for your tenacity and your courage and your leadership. And our next speaker is someone else who knows a little bit of something, I think, about tenacity and courage and leadership. And she stands in the eye of the storm every single day with the working people of the great state of California, but this entire country. And she is the Speaker of the U.S. House, Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you very much, April, and aren't we proud of our California SEIU? Largest union in California. Thank you, darling. And we're proud of the work that she and the SEIU have done there. Well, April and Madam President Mary Kay Henry have been so on this case for a long time. We've had hearings in California over the years, and we're successful. We have some level of success in California, but I will not be happy until we have a level of success nationally and unionized for our workers. This is a time when our home health care needs and those who meet them have leverage in a very important debate in the Congress of the United States. This is not incidental to the legislation. It is very, very central because it goes to the heart of the matter that we're about working families in our country and that we want not only the people who are caregivers at home being able to go to work because they have good care at home, but we want the respect to be there for the workers in the home. I always like to tell the story because for years we've been having these hearings in California, and I always like to tell a story of one of our witnesses who came regularly to our meetings, and she was talking about when she wanted to charge more for her services. And the family was like, well, I don't know. She said, well, if you don't think I'm worth it, do you think your mother's worth it? And of course, our families are all worth it. Addie Bark and so many of you have been so much a part of this. This is the heart of the matter. It not only gives leverage to the home care workers, which is essential, and as I say, I want them to be able to unionize. It gives leverage to people with disabilities, some of whom need the care at home. It gives leverage to anyone who has some reason why they need care at home. So it's really a values. When they talk about, well, how much does it cost? Let's worry about the value that it gives to our lives. And it is part of a bigger bill when we're talking about build back better with women. And many of the caregivers are men, and we respect that as well. And many of the people who need care or need to have care at home so that they can go to work are men. But by and large, the caregivers have largely been women, both in terms of meeting their own family's needs, but also in meeting and being the caregivers that are employed in that situation. So this is something that, I mean, we started out at a big price. I hope we can be at the highest level. I was pleased to hear what the senator had to say about that. But it is, again, a tremendous value to us. And when people say they want, oh, it's too big, and yeah, well, what would you cut? Would you cut care for people with disabilities or seniors who need help or children who are sick on a prolonged basis? What would you cut? Would you cut family and medical leave, paid for family and medical leave? Would you cut child care? Would you cut universal pre-K? What would you cut? Would you cut the child care tax credit? We're talking about our people. We're talking about our people. Why? Because you don't want to tax the richest people in America? We're not punitive. We don't resent any of their success, but we do want them to pay their fair share. We want them to pay their fair share. So for so many reasons, I thank all of you. And good, I like this, America needs union jobs. I love it because what I always say is the backbone of our democracy in our country is the middle class and everybody who aspires to it. And in America, and that democracy depends on a strong middle class and those who aspire to it. And that middle class has a union label on it. So let us thank you for your patriotism and your care for people, because we should be, in addition, and you know what gets me is when they talk about the infrastructure bill, they say it's a jobs bill. This is a jobs bill too. It's a jobs bill too. And it's a jobs bill that goes to many more women, people of color, and the rest. So it engages more people adequately compensated, respected for their work, hopefully unionized, so that we can do the best possible job for the people, for the children, for America's working families. So it's important that you're here now. Thank you for being here. It's really important that you're here now. So thank you all very much. Nice to be with you. Thank you for that opportunity. And thank you, April.
Let's give it up again for our amazing speaker. So we're here today because of home care workers like Erica Payne and Lynn Widener from Pennsylvania. And so Erica is a member of SEIU Healthcare Pennsylvania and the United Home Care Workers of Pennsylvania. Erica takes care of her elderly mother who needs care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because she's not paid to care for her mother, Erica has taken on another client and makes just $12 an hour. But she only gets paid for 8 to 10 hours a week for that client at nighttime. And there are so many hours in a day, but Erica has no choice but to pick up extra jobs when she can in order to make ends meet. And Lynn is also a member of SEIU Healthcare Pennsylvania and United Home Care Workers of Pennsylvania. Today, Lynn is joined by her partner and client, Brandon. Lynn has been in the healthcare industry for nearly 20 years. Because of the low quality of home care jobs, she has experienced burnout, anxiety, and depression, as well as exhaustion throughout her career. Lynn is fighting to raise the standard of care and care jobs so that talented, compassionate caregivers can stay in the job that they love, where we need them, where their clients need them, so that they can get the care that they need without facing financial, physical, and emotional ruin. Let's welcome Lynn and Erica.
Thank you. Thank God that's off. Tell him, girl. Tell him.
My name is Lynn. I'm a home care worker from Pennsylvania and a member of SEIU Healthcare Pennsylvania. I thank you so much for having us here today. Thank you for your champion of home care workers and the disabled communities that we serve. I really appreciate everybody's advocacy that's in this room, but there are so many people we need to reach outside of this room as well. Home care workers are doing so much important work, and we are not along partisan lines. We don't care if you are a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or a libertarian or a Green Party. We don't care about that. We care for you as a person, right? We care for everybody else, and we also need some care now. We have suffered for so long with no benefits. I don't have health insurance. I don't have paid time off. It's hard, right? It's hard.
That's a great way to start it off. My name's Erica from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I had to give up my career in order to take care of my mother when she became ill. It wasn't a hard choice to make. It was just a hard choice to do. I don't know if you know the difference in that, but I'm pretty sure every home caregiver here knows what I'm talking about. I'm not going to make this a pleasantry because I'm very angry at the way that my mother and my client and every other client in our industry is treated by the government. People in need of care right this moment are not getting that care. They are sitting at home, not getting out of bed, not eating, and wondering when the next person is going to come to take care of them. They are dying because nobody has taken a moment to fix this broken, chaotic system that they should have been doing to take care of our most vulnerable populations.
Because of the way that we treat home care workers, in Pennsylvania right now, for every 8 people that require care, there's only 1 caregiver. Without taking care of your workforce, you are letting people rot and die in their homes, and it cannot stand. In the 70s and 80s, we decided as a country that we weren't going to treat the disabled the same, right? We decided, we had an entire movement, and the ADA was passed, that we were going to treat people the same. This movement has stalled in this country, and it cannot stand anymore. Home care workers facilitate independent lives for the people that otherwise would have been institutionalized. We need to move away from the thinking that not any one of us could need this type of care at any moment. You are 1 second, 1 car accident, 1 wrong move away from needing essential workers like us. And when you need us, you want somebody there to take care of you that is also well taken care of. You don't want us broken down and sick and tired. You need us strong and healthy so we can continue to care for you.
This is a human rights issue. In America, in the 21st century, it is ridiculous that the freedom to live is 100% based on money and priorities of other people and not for the people themselves. Legislators, it doesn't matter what your loyalty is. It is not our job to be loyal to our party. It is our party's job to be loyal to us. The most valuable thing that you have today is your vote. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you only get 1. That makes it the most valuable real estate in the world. So utilize that when you are making decisions that affect other people's lives. This government is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. There are 54 million Americans who are 65 and older. 61 million adults currently live with a disability. 20 million individuals who currently require assistance to complete self-care and other daily living tasks. Numbers I didn't know. And there are 2.4 million home care workers today that we know of. And the people are the 53 million Americans who currently provide unpaid care for their loved ones, like me, who have to work a full-time job, take care of their family and their family member.
It's time that we stand up for home care workers and for our communities of consumers and our elderly. And I thank you so much for letting us come today and giving us a voice and a platform so that we can come and speak for those who can't speak for themselves. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What an incredible job they did. We know that's not easy. That is not easy. Thank you, ladies, so much. So I'm really thrilled. This is like fangirl stuff to introduce this next speaker. Because though I live and lead and work in California, I am a Chicago girl. And I got to spend my early career and as a teenager and a young adult watch this woman get busy. And she is a fierce fighter and has been an advocate and an early backer of our fight. And she has never backed down. because she understands that our country has truly had needs a solid long-term care policy. Calling essential workers essential is not policy, you all, but putting the weight of the federal government behind workers and investing in their ability to support their clients, themselves, and each other, that's policy. And it's a damn good policy. And that more than 80% of U.S. voters support. That's why I'm proud to bring up Jan Schakowsky of the Chicago Girl. Come on.
Oh, I am so proud to be here today. I'm going to be very brief because the House is voting right now, but I absolutely want to thank SEIU, and I want to thank the Domestic Workers Alliance. I want to thank all of you who do home care work. Oh my gosh, so incredible, and I'm so proud to be part of this effort. I want to tell you, the good news is this is a bipartisan issue because the American people are with you. They are with us. All the polling tells us they want long-term care at home. They want to make sure that it is in the reconciliation bill and the Build Back Better bill. We have people on our side. I want to tell you, I know this is hard work. I did a work-a-day with a home care worker 2 weeks ago, and it was really, I saw it. We all know it, that this is hard work. And the average home care worker across the country makes $12 an hour. That ain't right. That ain't right. Now, there's no way to be able to live on that. And we know that people at home want that care, need that care. This is a lot about, it's about women, it's about low-wage workers, it's about people paying what they're worth to be able to deliver this for Americans. Absolutely. And we can do both. We can take care of the people at home that need it, and we can make sure that the workers have respect at a decent wage. That's what we're fighting for right now. So I just want to tell you, I believe from the bottom of my heart, when we fight, we win. When we fight, let's do it. Thank you. I love you. I love you.
That's what drinking good old Lake Michigan water do for you. The next speaker is another really critical player in our fight to win home and community-based service investment, and that is the chair of the Senate Aging Committee, and that's Senator Bob Casey from the great state of Pennsylvania. That's right. He has always understood that care cannot wait. Our country is aging, and more people are in need of care every single day. Senator Casey knows that investing in care is as much about ensuring that all who need access to care are able to receive it. That's why he's been pushing so hard for this bill alongside all of you, alongside all of us. Thank you, sir. Senator Casey.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks everyone. Look, I know you've been very patient waiting for some of us to give speeches, so I won't keep you for a long time. I just want to start by saying thank you to those in this room who are workers or representing workers. Please give yourselves a hand and those with whom you work. Now, I heard part of what Lynn said. I see Lynn back there. Brandon, good to see you. How many here are from Pennsylvania? All right. How many SEIU members do we have in the room? National Domestic Workers Alliance, how about that? Now, how many people would want to be in either group? I'm putting both my hands up, all right? But thank you for the work you've done to get us to this point. We still have a lot of work to do, but we are going to get this done. We're going to pass into law the Better Care, Better Jobs Act to make sure that we as Americans are investing in home and community-based services for seniors, for people with disabilities, and we're going to, at the same time, lift up this workforce, this heroic workforce that you all know a lot more about than I do. People who have dedicated their lives to minister to others, to provide health care, to provide services in the home or in the community. So I want to thank you for what you've done to make it possible. This is about better care for seniors, better care for people with disabilities. It's also about better jobs, the jobs of those who are doing that heroic, critical work. You know, we all say, those of us who are elected officials, both parties, both houses for years, we all say, oh, we really care about people who have a disability. We really care about seniors and children. We care about those who are vulnerable. And yet, Washington has not delivered on the promise to lift up the workers who provide the care and the services to those seniors, people with disabilities, and Americans across the board. It's about time that Washington kept its promise to the workers. Don't you agree? We were looking at some data recently just about what this workforce is all about, and you know this every day because you live it, but here's some national data. When you consider the total workforce that we're talking about, 2.4 million home care workers across the nation, 63% of those home care workers live in communities all across the country and are people of color. 63%. And of course, you know that most of them are women, some of them here today, representing themselves and representing so many others who are providing that care. We also know that more than half of those workers across the country, more than just about 53%, receive some sort of public help, public assistance, because they're not making enough in their wage. As Jan Schakowsky said and so many others, if we're paying people $12 an hour, that's not right for those workers. That's not right for the care that they're trying to provide every day. There's no reason why a worker should have to hold down 2 or 3 jobs to provide the care, that heroic care they're providing every day. So I want to thank you for what you're doing to make it possible for us to come together as a nation and finally recognize that home and community-based services are essential. If we're going to call ourselves the greatest country in the world, we ought to have the best caregiving in the world. And one of the best ways to deliver the best care, of course, is to care for the worker, to lift her up, to give her a better wage, to invest in her, to allow her, of course, to join a union. That's the best thing we can do. So God bless your work. We're going to win this. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Senator Casey. He has been a champion. He has been fierce. His leadership is steadfast and so appreciated. And we're so lucky to be joined by our next speaker. And he is the House Democratic Caucus Chairman, Representative Hakeem Jeffries from the state of New York. He is a champion throughout this pandemic, like just for real, like at the heart of it all. Throughout this pandemic, we all know the devastation that New York faced during the pandemic. And he has always shown up to support the women and the women of color who have been on the front lines delivering care across the country, advocating for all who need care. And we're so incredibly grateful for his support. He's in it with us. He is strategizing, helping us figure out every single step of the way how to deliver on this investment for the millions of people across the country who need it. And so we're glad that he could make some time to join us. Congressman Jeffries.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Is SEIU in the house right now? Well, we're so thankful for you and this amazing coalition of home care workers who are in this fight to make sure that we can achieve the dignity and respect for the incredible essential work that you undertake as we negotiate a final agreement connected to the Build Back Better Act. You know, the basic, I want to thank Mary Kay Henry, of course, an extraordinary leader of the International, and Rona from my home local of 1199 back in New York. Someone from 1199 in the house? 1199, of course, always in the house. And of course, the advocates who, for such a long period of time, have been working on this issue, elevating the work that home care workers have done through it all in the midst of this pandemic, essential workers under difficult conditions, but nonetheless, being there for some of the most vulnerable folks amongst us. And we want to make sure that that work is rewarded, that that work receives the better pay, the better wages, the better benefits, and the better working conditions. And we're not going to rest until we achieve that reality here in Washington, D.C. And let me simply just say, we're on the floor, we're voting right now, and there's a variety of different dignitaries who have come by to speak to you. But in America, the basic contract has always been, theoretically, that if you work hard and play by the rules, you should be able to provide a comfortable living for yourself and for your family, and then retire with grace and dignity. That's the basic American contract. But for far too many workers, that contract has been stamped null and void. And we're here joining together in solidarity with you to say, that is not an acceptable situation, and we're going to turn it around. And we're going to turn it around for home care workers whose work is essential, is important, is incredibly meaningful for the most vulnerable amongst us, and we're going to get this done. God bless you, God bless SEIU, God bless home care workers, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, thank you. I'm going to get to our next speaker, but I just have to say, you know, the congressman talked about the contract, right? That if you play by the rules, if you work hard, you should earn a decent living. You should be able to put a roof over your head and food on your table, and send your kids to college, and maybe take a vacation and retire. But we know the system is rigged, do we not? The systems and the structures that this country was built on, particularly for those of us who have darker skin, it was not built for us, right? Somebody once told me the system delivers exactly what it was designed to deliver. And if we want different outcomes, it means taking the system down, unrigging the system. Let's dismantle it brick by brick and build a system anew, one that was designed for home care workers and child care providers to actually get ahead, right? Because we want a system that's built for us, by us. Because when we center us, everybody wins. Is that right? Everybody wins. Now? Okay. And so now our next speaker is another U.S. Senator from the state of New Hampshire, and her name is Maggie Hassan. I said it right? Okay, great. I thought so. Senator Hassan is a longtime champion of home health care and a care economy, because she has a personal story. This is personal for her, and I'm sure she'll tell us about it, and I don't want to steal her thunder. But she is a fierce advocate, a fierce champion, and we could not be prouder to have her support. Senator Hassan.
Well, thank you, April, for the introduction. Boy, is it good to see all of you today. I am so grateful that you are here. I am also grateful to my colleagues. I know you've heard from Senator Casey, and not sure whether you've heard from Senator Wyden yet, but they have been steadfast leaders on this issue as well. My colleagues in the House, who you have heard from and are going to hear from, have their own stories and perspective to tell, and I am grateful for that. To Mary Kay Henry and to Ai-jen Poo, I am really, really grateful for your leadership as well. And a real special thank you to the entire Care Can't Wait Coalition and all of the advocates who are here today. Your advocacy for a stronger investment in home and community-based services is essential to building a brighter future for people all across our country. The pandemic underscored longstanding challenges that our country faces when it comes to caring for seniors and individuals who experience disabilities and ensuring that they can get the home and community-based supports that they need. But for millions of families, including my own, home and community-based services have been an issue of paramount importance long before the pandemic hit. I'm the mom of a wonderful young man named Ben who happens to be 33 and happens to experience severe cerebral palsy. He lives at home with his dad and me. We know firsthand the difference that home care services can make and how they help deliver on greater inclusion. Many seniors and people who experience disabilities thrive when they can stay in their own homes and communities. In our son's case, of course, as I watched him go off to his first day of mainstreamed preschool, now 30 years ago, I found myself thinking that had he been born a generation or two earlier, we would have been pressured to put him in an institution. But he was going to school in his hometown. He had a chance to make friends and to learn and graduate from high school because of home-based community services. His inclusion is only possible because the hard work and sacrifices of caregivers who are truly unsung heroes. So we have to do more to invest in caregiving, including efforts to strengthen access to home and community-based services, expand the caregiving workforce, and give more caregivers the support that they need. Look, we continue to negotiate this upcoming budget. I'm going to keep pushing to make sure that we invest in home and community-based services. This is an investment that is long overdue. I'm focused on getting it across the finish line. At the end of the day, this is not only about the rights and inclusion of people with disabilities, it is also the recognition not only of the hard work that caregivers do each and every day, but the creativity and skill and talent of the caregivers that I have had the privilege to work with. I just wish more Americans, and maybe many Americans do see it, but I see talented, wonderful people finding ways to communicate with my son while giving him first-rate care and making sure that not only he feels like his friends and his peers, his community members, but our family feels like any other family because we can live like any other family. That is thanks to caregivers and a caregiving network. That's what we have to strengthen. That's what we have to improve. I am so grateful to all of you for being here. We're going to get this done. Because of advocates like you, we have made great progress over the last decades to include more and more people with disabilities in the heart and soul of our communities, but we have got a lot more to do, and it starts with recognizing the value of all of you and the value of home and community-based care. Thanks, everybody.
So will you say that you're about to introduce somebody, but I want to do a shout out for somebody who has to go for a...
Yes. So I'm going to introduce someone, but Mary Kay is going to give a shout out.
Thank you. I know that two congresswomen from Michigan are with us, and Debbie Dingle's just been called back to the floor, so I wanted to acknowledge her. A champion on home and community-based services in the House. Thank you, Debbie, for your leadership. And now back to April to introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
All these Michigander women, that's what's up. I don't have to tell the next speaker about how unions built the middle class, because our next speaker is Representative Brenda Lawrence, and she is from the great city of Detroit. She knows better than anyone that when people come together in a unions, when workers have a seat at the table, when Black women and brown women have a voice on the job, we get safer workplaces and stronger communities. That's why we are fighting for in Build Back Better, and I'm happy to turn it over to Representative Brenda Lawrence.
I am so proud to be with you today for a number of reasons. We're running back and forth on the floor right now, voting on issues that impact the lives of Americans. And when you talk about the lives and quality of life in America, we know that you firsthand know that. Every day, your work is improving the life of someone. But I'm here today that if we really believe in that, then we need to improve the lives and the earnings and the salaries of those who are our home caregivers. We need to respect the work you do by reflecting that in your salaries and in respecting the work that you do. I'm so honored to be here with you. During the pandemic, everyone learned what first responders meant. They learned what it meant when those who care for the least of us can't come to work. They understood for the first time, without us picketing and raising hell, that this is important to our quality of life in America. So today, I know there's men in the room, but I just really want to take my shoes off and talk about the women. Because 87% of those who care are women. 87%. And more than half are Black, Latina, and Asian women. So I know for a fact, when we start talking about respect, when we start talking about salary and wages, do you know in America, when we start talking about poverty, the largest demographic of poverty in America are women with children. So if you really want to lift women out of poverty, look at the jobs that they have. They take care of our children. They take care of our elders. They take care of our special needs. I will never forget, it was a nurse who, at a very trying time in my life, and it was a medical crisis, and everybody was doing their job, and my eyes were big as quarters, and it was a nurse that just leaned down in my face and said, "Hold my hand, this is gonna hurt." And she said, "If we don't do this, you're gonna die." So I know the doctors were doing their life, but the person who just really was there for me was the nurse. And so often you are in that room with the parent, you are in the room with people who are saying their goodbyes to this earth. You're in the room preparing people while they're going through medical crisis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want you to know 81% of Americans are in favor of home care policies in the Build Back Better plan. See, we can't build back better if we don't have women in the front of this Build Back Better. And when we talk about women again, when we talk about caregivers, we're talking about women and a few good men. So I didn't leave you out, brother. Not only will understanding and Build Back Better having a coordinated federal effort to lower costs and expand health care access to those who need it, they're going to create good union jobs. See, they're afraid of the union and you. Because when you connect the two, oh my goodness, it's a whole nother conversation. And so when we talk about the efforts that we're putting forth across this country, and I was having this debate with someone, I said, I want to be clear and Build Back Better that we are addressing the salary and wages of our home caregivers. And someone from the room said, just get them unionized and it's a done deal. When we build back better with workers, with women, women of color, front and center, I am going to be in that fight. And that's why I'm pushing so hard for Build Back Better. That's why I come when SEIU called me, because I know their work. You know, I'm sick of people, I'm in politics, I'm sick of people talking all the time, you know? Talk is cheap. You know, I can buy a parrot that can talk to me. I need people who are committed to the fight, committed to the change, and committed to results. I'm in a place where we make sausage. I get so frustrated because it takes forever to get anything done. But the one thing I have found is that when we come together, when the union, with the people of this country, with those who believe in the fight, and I'm one with you, brothers and sisters, if we lock arms and say, in this America with our democracy, we are going to demand change and respect for those who take care of us. God bless you. Let's keep fighting.
What did I tell you? Right, I told you. Look, and her leadership, Representative Lawrence's leadership, is so critically important. She also serves as one of the co-chairs of the Women's Caucus.
I just want to give you a hug.
Thank you for everything. Thank you. I take all the hugs I can get. Cause I missed hugs. Did you miss? I missed them. All right, sorry, I digress. Aishan, I'm coming to you next. Okay. I looked like I felt like I had to give her fair warning. Aishan Poo wears many, many hats, but she is a fierce advocate for workers, for domestic workers, home care workers, child care providers, for immigrants in our country. She has spent the last 20 years building movement, over 20 years, building movement, building power for folks who do this work, and is one of the reasons we are in this room, right? It is her tenacity, her leadership, and she's gonna come and give you some words.
How's everybody feeling? Feels like we're going to win. As April said, my name's Ai-jen, and I am the Executive Director of the National Domestic Workers Alliance and also of Caring Across Generations. At the National Domestic Workers Alliance, we represent the workforce who works inside of our homes, providing caregiving and cleaning services, including home care workers. And we hear the most extraordinary stories from the women who are part of our organization. We hear about the contributions that enable life itself. Different from building bridges and tunnels, these workers produce quality of life, agency, dignity, independence, and in a society and economy powered by human beings, their work must come first before anything else is possible. It's essential and it's increasing in value as our nation ages and more of us want to age at home and in the community. And yet, decade after decade, the women who do this work live in poverty, have to choose between gas and food, paying the phone bill or the electric bill, and in a crisis between their own families or that of their clients. And these are impossible choices. They are unjust and unsustainable. This Build Back Better investment in home and community-based services is grounded in the simple idea that we should be a country where the people who need care and services can have access to them, and the workers who provide care can also care for their own families on the income they earn. It's so simple. And it's also cost-effective, because every day we keep people out of nursing homes is a day that we save taxpayers money. Care in the home and community costs a quarter of what care in an institution costs. It also is about helping working family caregivers like the ones who are part of Caring Across Generations to have the support they need to get back to work. There are 48 million people who are struggling to manage work while caring for an aging loved one or a loved one with disabilities. Many of them are part of the sandwich generation, paninied between the pressures of childcare and elder care. Our caregivers need support. We cannot risk doing enough. We cannot risk not doing enough while we have the opportunity to change lives in this way. We cannot shortchange this investment. We cannot nickel and dime dignity. This is the right investment in the right people at the right time. We cannot wait another generation or even another month to build the care infrastructure we need or to support the care workers at the heart of it. Care can't wait. We need Congress to act now. And please know to all of our champions in Congress that we are with you as you push to get across the finish line. Let's do this.
Was that not beautiful? But I expect nothing less. Thank you, Aijen. In the town, they say Barbara Lee speaks for me. And here to talk to us is Representative Barbara Lee, a fierce advocate and champion for workers from Oakland, California. I get to work arm in arm with her in California, and I truly feel like Barbara Lee speaks for me. And she is another champion of home care workers because she feels it in her soul, right? And I know that for a fact. Representative Barbara Lee.
So glad to see you, my sister, and thank you so much for your leadership, and welcome, everyone. Welcome to your capital. You know, the CARE can't win, can't wait, can't win, can win. Can't wait coalition. And let me just say how important it is to keep saying that. We cannot wait any longer, any longer. And so I'm so proud to stand with you in this fight. Always have and always will be. Home care work, it's essential work. I mean, can you imagine all of a sudden now folks are beginning to wake up to essential workers and the value and the dignity that should be afforded to essential workers? Well, in my world, you've been essential all of my life. And so I just want to thank you all for keeping up the fight. You know, it is so important that the work that you do, I have an aunt now who's 101 years old. And it's care workers who are helping her out. My mother passed away at 90, and she was in an assisted living facility, unionized, union workers, and sometimes I'd have to be an advocate for some of the workers with management where she lived. But I know that she lived longer than what was expected because of home care workers. And so I do feel this in my heart. I know good and well what you all deserve, and you do not need to even ever think about being paid poverty wages anymore, because we're going to stay in this fight until it is done, until it's done. We've got to invest, and you know what we need to do in terms of home and community-based services programs. You know, in terms of these waiting lists that are happening all over the country, even in my district, the shortages and the long wait list means that people who need this help, who need access to the care that they need for their families, they don't get that care because of the way the system is so designed. And so President Biden's, and I was in the meeting with him last night, and I'm confident that he's staying with us. He is with us, and I raised some of the issues that were raised in Oakland, mind you, that his Build Back Better plan would be one of the largest investments for our essential, our truly essential workforce that really is predominantly women and women of color. So what is it, 1 million union jobs that can be created now? Wow, that's not only an investment in you and your families and your lives, but also an investment in our economy. And it would help our country recover from the economic impacts of this pandemic. So I just want to thank you. I have amendments on the floor right now trying to cut this military budget so that we can have more resources for domestic priorities. That's what I'm doing now. But I just wanted to first come by to say thank you all so much because I know, and April, thank you. This is within my heart because you all have helped save so many of my family's lives and have given my family the quality of life that they so deserved in their senior years. So thank you again, and may God bless you. Okay, thank you.
That is a freedom fighter, you all, an absolute freedom fighter. We do not do this work alone. There is the Care Can't Wait Coalition that brings together groups that are fighting for the full care package, child care, home and community-based services, paid leave. And we also have a group of advocates specifically from across the senior and the disability justice movements that are working together to be another force of much needed wind behind this movement. And so I say that to say one of the folks that I want to introduce next is a member of that coalition table. Maria Towns is the president and CEO of the American Association of People with Disabilities, AAPD. Maria is a fearless champion and advocate for people with disabilities throughout our country and has been an essential voice in this movement to transform care for all. Maria. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, April, for that amazing introduction and for your solidarity. I also just need to take in the moment a little bit because I'm following Congresswoman Barbara Lee, one of my icons. Thank you all for everything. As April said, my name is Maria Town, and I serve as the president and CEO of the American Association of People with Disabilities, or AAPD. AAPD, we're a cross-disability civil rights organization. And when I say disability, I mean everybody from people like me who were born disabled with cerebral palsy to folks who become disabled through things like cancer or long COVID, right? Our disability population is growing astronomically every day because of the pandemic that we are all trying to get under control. People who are blind, people who age into disability and may not even identify as disabled. That's who we're about. And increasing access to home and community-based services is key to increasing the political and economic power of my beloved community. Every single day, I wake up with the knowledge that the civil rights of disabled people are being denied through segregation. Segregation that is not only legal, but encouraged by our policies and healthcare systems. Everybody in this room knows it's true. Our current healthcare system has a bias towards placing people with disabilities who need supports in medical institutions and long-term care facilities like nursing homes. Placing disabled people in these congregate settings not only denies us the opportunity to be supported in our communities, it denies us the opportunity to remain with our families, and it can become a death sentence for us. While this is something that the disability community has known and fought against for decades, it's something that everyone in this nation witnessed during the COVID-19 pandemic. People with disabilities and older adults in long-term care settings make up 1% of our nation's population, and yet we were 40% of our nation's COVID deaths. 40%. Part of the reason this is such a problem is because disabled people and the workers who support us have been treated as disposable. We are not disposable. No one is disposable. What are we? Essential. We are all essential. And if we'd had these essential investments in home and community-based services before the pandemic, not only would it have improved lives, it would have saved lives. My brothers and sisters from SEIU, I want to thank you because y'all have done some amazing polling that shows that 90% of voters want HCBS instead of nursing home care. The polling also showed that 82% of those folks think it's difficult to afford and get the services that they so desperately need and overwhelmingly want. And they're right. It's not only difficult to afford the services, it is extremely difficult to navigate the suffocating bureaucracy in order to become eligible for HCBS. Our nation's failure to adequately invest in home and community-based services has created a system that devalues workers, punishes families, and violates the civil rights of disabled people. And let me be clear, this has been a policy choice to not adequately fund HCBS. It's a policy choice to leave almost 1 million people on wait list. the death, the family separation, the denial of self-determination that's been caused by a lack of HCBS funding, those have all been policy choices. But this status quo does not need to be a foregone conclusion. We have an opportunity to make a different policy choice. Those who we elected have a mandate to make a different policy choice. In this moment, disabled people, our families, and the workers who support us do not have the option to conceive of our futures because we are forced into poverty, denied health insurance, forced out of the workplace, right? The future shouldn't be a luxury good. No one should be denied their right to self-direct their future because our systems and services were not robust enough to support their dreams. We need to make it possible for people with disabilities to live independently in our homes and receive the needed supports in our communities rather than institutions. The American Association of People with Disabilities adamantly urges Congress to fund HCBS in this reconciliation bill. If you don't believe that disabled people should be segregated, but should be able to live and thrive with our families and communities, make that different policy choice. If you believe that disabled people and the communities that surround us have a right to determine our own futures, make a different policy choice. Provide as much funding for HCBS, provide it to the level that states need to transform this critical system, and do it now. HCBS can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Not only are we not disposable, not only are we essential, we ain't going nowhere. We got the power. Let's use it. The people shall rule. Say that again. We got the power. Let's use it. The people shall rule. All right. All the way from North Carolina, we have Deborah Lynette McAllister. Ms. Deborah is a home care worker with the Fight for 15 and a union. Ms. Deborah is one of the country's tens of millions of unpaid family caregivers. You heard me. She does not get paid a dime for the 24/7 care she does, the work she does. She is not ashamed of her situation, and she's telling her truth, speaking truth to power, to fight for home care workers and families in similar situations. Ms. Deborah. Ms. Deborah.
Great evening, everyone. It's amazing to be here with you on today. I wanted to make history today by bringing my 2.5-year-old grandson. He's over there moving around, so I got to make this really quick. So I want to make sure I say everything I need to say because we came through the storm and the rain to get here, but guess what? We're here to win. We are going to win. My name is Deborah McAllister. I'm from a small town called Burgos, North Carolina. So my mother fell ill. So I was working at the time, so I had to make a decision. So I had to quickly think of something to do, and I said, okay, my mother is very important. Let me stay home and be her caregiver. So her condition worsened, and over the last 2 years, she now requires care 24/7. So I had to put my life on hold. You see how beautiful I look? I had to put my life on hold to do what I needed to do to care for my mother so she can live. But I want you to know that I don't get paid, not nothing, not a dime. We don't qualify for Medicaid. So I get $0 an hour caring for my mother. I think I'll say that again. I don't get paid for the 24-hour, 7 days a week care quality care that I provide for my mother. And in North Carolina, home care workers like me, we don't have a right to even join a union. So I'm fighting for the pay that I deserve on my own. Because guess what? My mother needs me. So I stick to this work. It's work I like to do because I love helping people in need. But guess what? Love don't pay no bills. So since I retired early, I don't get a full pension. Guess what I get? Read my lips. $822 a month. Once the rent is paid, that's really not enough to pay the rent. Bills are paid, there is not even enough money left. But without that additional income, me and my mother would be homeless. Guess what we have? We're living off my father's pension. That's what helps us buy groceries and make our life a little bit better. So think about that. I'll be a home care worker without a home of her own. So I speak on behalf, I heard someone say this earlier, I speak on behalf of the estimated 53 million Americans who provide unpaid care for loved ones. I speak today on behalf of nearly 40% of family caregivers who left their jobs in the past year to provide for care. So I speak on behalf of millions of women and women of color who can't get ahead no matter how hard we work because the system is designed to hold us back. So I'm speaking my truth today for all the home care workers whose story you never hear. Their voices really matter. So I've worked all my life. I was doing well. I never thought that I would be in this position that I'm in today. But guess what? My mother loves me, and so I'll go without. So if I had a union, it could win the wages that we deserve for the work we do. And I could win a better life for me and my mother. So I'm proud to join with our home care workers of North Carolina and across the country to fight for a union. We deserve a voice on the job. We deserve to have a say in decisions that impact our work and our clients. Did you know that home care workers make it so that people in need can live full lives, complete lives? We refuse to let people give up. We can't. And guess what? We cannot give up either. And that's why I'm keeping organizing, fighting, speaking my truth. Maybe one day my voice will pass through the right person's ears. Guess what? And it even could be today. So President Joe Biden has put forward a plan that will finally bring justice to home care workers and consumers. We are relying on our elected officials to take action for us. This is serious. People's lives are on the line. So my relationship with God, everybody should have one, right? That's what makes me stay positive. And one of the greatest gifts he's given me is the unconditional love I have for people in need. So you have to care for people who are less fortunate than you. So I pray that Congress will do the same. So guess what? My mother turns 80 years old Thanksgiving. So we're going to give her a surprise birthday party. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off, but that's what I'm going to do. She says she's never had a birthday party before. So I want to give her that. So I pray to God that I'll be able to see her smiling face on that day. And if things change for the better, maybe she'll live to be 100. So God's timing, guess what, is always right. In fact, it is perfect. God's timing is perfect. And all I know is our time. I know this our time. So on behalf of all the home care workers, I ask you, please pass President Biden's Build Back Better plan now and give us the respect, the protection, because guess what? We're your responsibility, and the pay that we deserve for the quality care that we provide. So I'll leave you with this, Congress. As a servant, you find our need and you meet it. You find our hurt and you heal it. You find our problems and you solve them. Because what we do comes from the heart. And we want to help. We want your help to come from your heart. So it's the service that you give to others is what makes one great. Thank you kindly for your time and your attention. Live from North Carolina, come on and raise up.
North Carolina is in the house. And Elena Hung is in the house. Elena is the executive director of Little Lobbyists. Little Lobbyists have been changing hearts and minds from saving the Affordable Care Act to now, helping pass a transformative investment in care and inspiring all of us along the way. Elena.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for speaking your truth. Thank you. And thank you, Maria Town, who spoke right before that. I echo everything she said. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am Elena Hung. I am the co-founder and executive director of Little Lobbyists, which is a family-led group advocating for our children with complex medical needs and disabilities. I'm also better known to some of you as Xiomara's mom. Xiomara is the joy of my life, and I am so lucky that I get to be her mom. Now, 7 years ago, I had a great pregnancy and an amazing birth. And then 15 minutes after my baby was born, she was placed on 100% oxygen support and rushed to the neonatal intensive care unit, where she remained for the next 5 months. She was diagnosed with serious medical conditions affecting her airway, her lungs, her heart, and her kidneys. Today, Xiomara uses a tracheostomy to breathe, a ventilator for additional respiratory support, a feeding tube for all of her nutrition, and a wheelchair to get around and explore the world around her. I am thrilled to tell you that Xiomara is thriving today. She is thriving. She is happy, kind, funny, clever, and a little bit naughty. Xiomara started the 2nd grade recently, attending school via distance learning. She celebrated her 7th birthday this past summer. These are 2 milestones that were never guaranteed to us and that I am forever grateful for. The medical care she received helped her survive those early days and months, and the home and community-based services that she has received has helped her thrive. Medicaid paid for the home-skilled nursing that enables Xiomara to live at home with her family instead of an institution far, far away. And because of that, she's had the opportunity to grow up with her big brother, with tons of friends from the neighborhood, and a community that loves her. The home therapies that she's received, the physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, has helped her foster her independence. And the home-skilled nursing that she's received has kept her safe and healthy. And Medicaid saved money in the process because it paid a fraction of the cost to provide home and community-based services instead of institutionalizing her, which is what routinely happened to disabled children like her not that long ago, and still happening across the country. So it paid a fraction of the cost, a quarter of the cost to be exact. So today I am here, I'm joining the healthcare home care workers, the disability community, older Americans, families across America to call for a game-changing, historic, once-in-a-generation federal investment in home care, because care is essential. The workers who care for our loved ones deserve a living wage. Our disabled and elderly loved ones deserve care in the setting of their choice without being limited by means or access. We all deserve to live and work with dignity. And so I'm here speaking, joining all of you with SEIU, with the National Domestic Workers Alliance, the Care Can't Wait Coalition, with home care workers, with families. We're all speaking with one voice to say that the time to deliver is now, because care can't wait. Thank you so much.
Xiomara's mom is all right. And care absolutely cannot wait. And neither can our children. And no one knows that our children will not wait more than Myra Jones-Taylor. Myra is another amazing member of the Care Can't Wait Coalition and the Chief Policy Officer of 0 to 3. She is a fierce fighter for children and for racial justice for all of us, including making sure that every single child born in this country has a fair shot at success. Care is essential to that vision, and I am thrilled to call Myra my sister now. We have been in countless Zoom rooms with Dawn and Aishan and Myra and Fatima, who had to leave, but an amazing coalition of women who are standing together in this fight. And so I'm really proud to be here today.
Can't lose my glasses now. Or my earrings, actually, my earrings. My glasses are off. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Sister April. So I'm here to talk about childcare, but before I do that, I'm going to talk about home and community-based services. I'm the Chief Policy Officer at 0 to 3. My job is to advocate for babies and their families. And so people might wonder, what do I care about home and community-based services? Well, let me tell you. It's really easy. Aside from all the things that have been said here today, I'm going to focus in on poverty. We know that poverty wages don't pay. They don't work for communities, they don't work for workers, they don't work for families, and they do not work for babies. 1 in 5 babies before the pandemic lived in poverty. 1 in 5. That's 20% of every baby in this country before the economic crisis that hit us. 2 in 5 are right above the poverty line, low-income families. And we know that the poverty wages that you all receive, many of you all go home to your families. You have children at home. You have babies at home whose well-being is compromised because we have made a decision to turn our backs on you. So I stand here as a baby advocate to say no more. We will not have that. We are so grateful because we know that what you do, you go home to your families and you care for your babies, those of you who have babies. You care for our communities where babies are thriving regardless of if you have babies. And so I am so grateful to you. So now I'm going to talk about childcare because that also matters. We know that before the pandemic, over 50% of families in this country lived in a childcare desert, meaning there was not adequate childcare to meet their needs. We know, though, we have an opportunity with this bill. We can build back better and say no more to that. And we can do it all. We're going to hear from our sister Dawn in a minute, who's going to talk about paid leave. We are here as a coalition to say all of these things matter. Paid leave, childcare, and home and community-based services, because they are right for babies and they are right for this country. So we have an opportunity to pass a historic $450 billion investment in childcare. $450 billion. I'm going to tell you this. We were celebrating a couple years ago when we got $2.34 billion. That felt like the sky had just opened up, but we knew it wasn't enough. And we came back as a coalition to say we demand more, our babies deserve more, and we came together with our brothers and sisters in SEIU, Paid Family for All, National Domestic Workers Alliance, National Women's Law Center, so many more. So I am just here to say we stand in solidarity with you all. I'm so grateful for all that you do. And should I ever, or my family ever need your support and your help, I pray that you do it with a worthy wage, with respect, and with dignity. And I know you're doing it with dignity because I hope people recognize the dignity you bring to your work. So thank you all so much for everything you do.
Another part of our sisterhood, we got a few brothers, but our sisterhood of fierce fighters in Care Can't Wait is Dawn Hucklebridge. She is the director of Paid Leave for All. She is a tireless champion for families across our country, holding our leaders accountable and making sure they see how we cannot thrive unless all of us thrive. And that includes paid leave for all of us. Sister Dawn.
How's everybody feeling? You feel like we're going to win? I believe that we will win. My name is Dawn Hucklebridge. Let's see if I can, sorry, I'm a little tall. I am the director of Paid Leave for All, and we are the campaign of now more than 25 organizations leading the fight for paid family and medical leave for every working person in this country. And we are a very proud partner of Care Can't Wait. So I was going to open by thanking the elected officials, the champions who've come here today, the ones who have our back, but I actually really want to start by thanking every one of you. Because, you know, when with our campaign, we often say this, it's not lost on us. When people take time out of their work to come advocate for something like this, the irony of they are fighting for something they're giving up as they do it, time caring for people they love. So thank you. But also thank you to Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, and every single champion who is standing with us. We have, as you'll hear again and again, a once-in-a-generation opportunity right now. But we are also facing some of the biggest challenges of our lifetimes. And if we don't change course, if we don't seize this opportunity, it could be irreversible. There is no lasting recovery, and there is no real rebuilding without a real investment in care. You know, the speaker was talking about the jobs package, the infrastructure package. The irony, 90%, and I want to be clear, we need both bills. We want infrastructure and we want Build Back Better. But 90% of hard infrastructure jobs would go to men. Meanwhile, care policies, we know, would yield millions of jobs, billions in wages, and trillions in GDP, and I will add, a more equitable economy. So these are both jobs packages. And let's be clear, we have experienced an acute economic, health, and caregiving crisis. More than 5 million women's jobs lost. Women of color hit hardest. Investing in home and community-based services and care workers, investing in childcare, and investing in paid family and medical leave would uniquely solve for these problems. These policies are tools for public health, for economic resilience and growth, and for racial and gender equity. There is no more common sense solution to the problems we face as a country than investing in this package. And women, caregivers, disproportionately women of color, have carried us through this pandemic. I will add, a pandemic that we are still in. Home care workers, essential workers, you have kept our families going and our economy going while risking your health and your own lives. Many of them have done it without livable wages or common sense protection, and we lost the lights. I want to note this, in the case of paid leave, many of them were even cut out of the emergency paid leave provisions that we had during the height of COVID that expired last year. So you cannot say that you care about racial and gender equity. You cannot say that you care about family values. You cannot say you care about even small businesses or military families or essential workers and not support passing this budget package now. At Paid Leave for All, we hear from people like Tamika Henry in Nevada, who lost over a month's pay when her entire family got COVID, who has lost hundreds of thousands over a lifetime caring for her family. Chris Garcia in Colorado, an essential worker who lost his job when he was exposed and had to quarantine, like so many others. The care policies in this package would transform all of our lives. It would be something meaningful that would help every working family. It would ensure our survival and our growth. So we live in a very different world now. Our economy is forever changed. Our health, our families are forever changed. Paid leave, childcare, long-term care, these would be profound solutions that would allow us all to survive and grow. The time is now, and I believe that we will win. Thank you.
Sister Dawn, I don't just believe we will win, I know we will win. Because when we fight, all right. Absolutely. A brother, I'm gonna bring up a brother that's a part of our coalition, Peter Caldas is the president of the American Society on Aging. He is relentlessly committed to advocating on behalf of aging adults in this country. We know the numbers are growing by millions. 10,000 seniors turn 65 every single day in this country. And so, Peter.
Spoiler alert, we're all aging. And most of us want to age at home, but there simply hasn't been the infrastructure to support it. In fact, like our bridges and our roads, our infrastructure for aging is crumbling. And we witness it buckle under the weight of COVID-19. Older adults accounted for more than 80% of all pandemic deaths. And as the largest, most diverse community of professionals working in aging in America, we at the American Society on Aging are here to say to Congress, it's time to deliver. It's time to deliver on what's likely the most comprehensive investments in aging that we have seen in more than half a century. It's time to bridge the digital divide for the 42% of older adults who don't have internet at home to safely connect online to vaccines and to healthcare. It's time to invest in the resilience against the impacts of climate change so that families of all ages can withstand the onslaught of drought, fires, and hurricanes. And it's time to deliver on care. As 10,000 people turn 65 daily, by 2028 we'll need to fill 4.7 million new care jobs, but these jobs may go unfilled. Direct care workers are deemed essential to be on the front lines of the pandemic, but not to be fairly paid. Our community-based organizations who help older adults aren't able to meet today's demand for their services, let alone the future demand. And to be sure, these workers, like all of you and the organizations, do some of the most physically, psychologically, and emotionally demanding tasks imaginable. And the value of that care has never been appropriately recognized. It's time for our country to honor, respect, and pay for that commitment. And to be sure, investing in care is investing in infrastructure for aging. We need robust funding so older adults have access to the services and supports that they need to remain at home and stay connected to their communities. So while some in Congress may not need these services, America's 53 million family members who currently shoulder the burden of caregiving certainly do. I think because we're all aging, let's invest in all our futures. It's time to deliver.
Thank you so much, Peter. It is time to deliver because care cannot wait. So I want to forecast what's getting ready to happen next. Not right this minute, but soon. I just learned we have to be out of this room by 4 o'clock. So we got about 18 minutes, and that's okay. And 3 more speakers, maybe 4. We'll figure it out if I'm gonna be able to cajole her to the mic. And we want to make sure we hear from all of them, and we have time. I also just want you all to be aware we have to be escorted out of the room. So don't leave your seats. We will follow the direction of the folks who are going to come take us away. Okay? So just wanted to forecast what's going to happen soon. Our next speaker is another worker who I'm happy to hear from. And I want to give her just due. Sorry. It's a lot of paper here. There we go. Antonia Serco, Antonia Serco is right here from Washington, D.C. Please give her a warm welcome as she makes her way up. She is a longtime advocate with NDWA who has been building power with care workers in the National Domestic Workers Alliance. Antonia.
Muy buenas tardes, estimados miembros del Congreso, compañeros aliados. Mi nombre es Antonia Surco y es un honor estar aquí con todos ustedes este día. Yo he sido trabajadora de cuidado y niñera desde 2004 y estoy orgullosa de ser miembro y líder de la Alianza Nacional de Trabajadoras del Hogar.
Dear members of Congress, colleagues, supporters, good afternoon. My name is Antonia Surco, and it is an honor to be here with you all on this day. I have been a care worker and a nanny since 2004, and I am a proud member leader of the National Domestic Workers Alliance.
Estoy aquí porque estamos en un momento crítico para sacar adelante a las trabajadoras del hogar y nuestras familias. A la infraestructura del cuidado, tenemos una oportunidad histórica de invertir en nuestro sistema del cuidado, que no solo transformará los trabajos del cuidado, que sea trabajos con salarios más dignos, sino que también asegurará que todos los que necesiten y tengan acceso a servicios del cuidado puedan envejecer con dignidad y respeto en sus hogares y comunidades.
I am here because we are at a critical time to lift up domestic workers and support our care infrastructure. We have a historic opportunity to invest in our care system and not only transform care jobs into dignified, good jobs, but to also ensure that all those who need care services have access to them and can age with dignity and respect in their homes and communities.
Mi voz está respaldada por 2.500.000 trabajadoras del hogar que cuidamos a sus seres queridos. Nuestro trabajo hace posible que otros puedan trabajar con tranquilidad, confiando la vida de sus seres queridos a nosotras. Históricamente, este trabajo ha sido invisible y devaluado. Aunque el trabajo del cuidado es un trabajo difícil, que requiere amor, paciencia, habilidad y conocimiento, es invaluable para las personas que cuidamos. Nunca ha sido reconocido ni compensa como tal. Y ahora tenemos la oportunidad de transformarlo profundamente en algo real.
I am here as one of the over 2.5 million domestic workers who care for your loved ones, whose work makes other work possible so others can work with peace of mind, entrusting the lives of their loved ones with us. And our work has historically been invisible and undervalued. Although care work is difficult work that requires love, patience, and knowledge, and is invaluable for those receiving the care, it never has been recognized nor compensated as it should be. And now we have the opportunity to profoundly transform it into something real.
Antes de la pandemia, yo tenía 2 trabajos. Cuidaba a una persona mayor y también cuidaba niños. Las 2 familias contrajeron el COVID-19. Inmediatamente perdí los 2 trabajos. Y como los trabajos del hogar y del cuidado no tienen acceso a beneficios ni protecciones básicas, no tuve ninguna otra opción que encontrar otros trabajos, cuidando aunque estuve preocupada por mi salud, como muchas cuidadoras, tuve que trabajar durante la pandemia para poder sobrevivir y no perder mi hogar. Es hora que estos trabajos esenciales sean buenos trabajos considerados.
Before the pandemic, I had 2 jobs. I was taking care of an elderly person, and I was also taking care of 2 children. The 2 families that employed me contracted COVID, and I immediately lost both of my jobs. And because I didn't have benefits or protections like many domestic workers and caregivers, I had no choice but to find other care work while I was concerned for my own health. Like many care workers, I had to work during the pandemic in order to survive and not lose my home. It's time for these essential jobs to be good jobs with dignified pay, benefits, and paid time off.
La inversión de los servicios basados en hogar y comunidad hará eso. Es una inversión en nosotras, las trabajadoras esenciales. Es una inversión para aumentar nuestro salario y proveernos beneficios. Es una inversión para crear nuevos trabajos esenciales para mujeres negras, mujeres de color y mujeres inmigrantes. Es una inversión para nuestros seres queridos, familias y comunidades que necesitan el cuidado. Ya es la hora, el cuidado no puede esperar. Esperemos una victoria, porque el cuidado ya no puede esperar más.
Investing in home and community-based services will do just that. It is an investment in us, in essential workers. It is an investment to increase our wages and provide us with benefits. It is an investment to create new quality jobs for Black women, for women of color, and immigrant women. It is an investment for our loved ones, families, and communities in need of care. The time is now. Care can't wait.
El cuidado no espera más. El cuidado no espera más.
Thank you so much. Now, we have with us another speaker, my sister Namati Mansoure from Moms Rising. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know about y'all, but I have heard a word today, and I am thankful for it. I'm here to say that America's moms want Congress to make the once-in-a-generation investment in home and community-based services, in childcare, and in paid family and medical leave. There's no time to wait because care can't wait. Every day, our country is without a care infrastructure. Families are suffering. Moms are being pushed out of the workforce because they can't afford childcare, because they can't find childcare, because schools are closed and they have to quarantine their child. Working people are losing pay every day because they need time off to recover from a serious illness, or because their loved one is going through a health crisis, or because they need to care for an aging parent. Adult children are struggling without the care workers and infrastructure to support an aging parent. And adults with disabilities are going without the supports they need to thrive and live independently or within their homes and communities. And care workers are woefully unpaid. Care can't wait. These people are like Moms Rising member Donna. She's a nurse in Cleveland. She struggles to care for her mother who was in a serious health crisis, as well as her son who has special needs. She doesn't have paid family medical leave, and she doesn't have the care support that she needs. Care can't wait. Donna loses income each time she has to take time away from her work to provide care for her family. And then we have an individual named Tracy. She's a speech pathologist in West Virginia, right down the road. Tracy cares for her homebound grandmother and her son who has complex medical needs. She was forced to leave her full-time job because she did not have job protections to manage her caregiving responsibilities. She now works as a contractor without benefits. Again, she loses pay each time she needs to step away to provide care for her family, to support her son and her grandmother. Care can't wait. And there are people like me who 5 years ago, my father suddenly fell ill. He'd never really been sick before, so it came as a shock to us, my sisters and I. We found ourselves thrust in the world of Medicaid and Medicare, and we were swimming in uncertainty. The care system and the long-term care system in particular were and are incredibly confusing and hard to navigate. And that's even for someone who is in this environment, in this work, who does it every day. We need a better way. Why? Because care can't wait. Exactly. You already know. Our care infrastructure was hanging by a thread before the pandemic. Then COVID came, and that thread unraveled altogether. The pandemic is having an outsized impact on Black and Indigenous women of color, on moms of color. We are experiencing compounded health and economic harms and inequities. And we expect Congress to take action to lift our families, to lift our businesses, and to lift our economy. Although there's no single public policy that will solve this slow-rolling crisis families have faced before the pandemic or the runway train wreck we are facing now, the policy solutions in the reconciliation package now before Congress, along with the infrastructure package, will go a long way towards combating systemic racial and gender inequalities, towards boosting families and businesses, towards creating good jobs, good paying jobs that pay a living wage, and building the care infrastructure our economy and our country needs, both in times of crisis and in times of opportunity. Just as we need to build bridges and roads to drive on to get to work, we need to build a care infrastructure so parents can go to work, so children can thrive, so care workers can earn a living wage and stay in their profession, so families and businesses can succeed, and again, so our economy can grow. America's moms need Congress to invest in home and community-based care. We need Congress to pass comprehensive paid family and medical leave. We need Congress to invest in childcare. We thank our leaders in Congress who are now championing, or who have been championing, families in our economy, and we urge lawmakers to act now. And why? Because care can't wait. Thank you.
Care cannot wait. It ain't gonna wait. It's time to deliver. And it is time for Josie Calipini, the Deputy Director of Family Values at Work. So proud to introduce her, another part of the sisterhood, an ultimate champion and advocate for working families. Come on, Josie.
Hi, everybody. Still here? I know, because that's the commitment we have, to make sure that we win this thing that they are talking about on the Hill. Isn't that right? Yes, and we know that home care is essential. We know that care can't wait, and we know that it is time for Congress to deliver. Now, we've been here for a while, and I believe in strong and not long, so let me tell you what I'm here for. My name is Josie. I'm the Deputy Director at Family Values at Work. And you've heard all the stats. You've heard from so many speakers today, but it's easy to say, well, I'm not a care worker. I'm not a domestic worker. So, y'all handle that over there, right? That's oftentimes how we get it. But I'm standing here today as a proud product of a domestic worker, okay? My mom started off as a domestic worker, and then she became a home care worker. And the only reason I'm here is because she would often piece together multiple clients, multiple jobs to make sure that me and my family and my siblings were good, that we had school, that we had, the after school programs, that we could do the things that we needed to do for me to be here today, right? So your contributions, the contributions of domestic workers, the contributions of home care workers goes beyond just showing up day to day for the people they're caring for. It also impacts their very own families. It's why domestic workers and home care workers need a thriving wage. Forget a living wage. We need a thriving wage, right? We need all of the benefits. Every worker in this country, whether you're a domestic worker, whether you're a home care worker, or whether you're like me who's on the Hill on a regular basis, we need paid leave, right? Paid family and medical leave. We need access to health care benefits so that everyone can thrive and live on their own terms. This is the first time in a long time that I have ever seen a piece of federal policy that speaks to us as a whole person. We often live in an environment that wants to cut us apart and say, your wages live over there, right? Your health care lives over there. Your benefits for a right to a dignified environment at your workplace lives over there. And it cuts us up as if we don't live this life as whole people, as whole families who need all of these services and all of these benefits and all of these policies. That's why, like Speaker Pelosi said, when they tell us this is too big, what is it that you're asking us to cut? Are you asking us to cut the well-being of our children? Are you asking us to cut the well-being and the care that I know my mother is going to need in the next couple of years? Are you asking us to cut our own well-being, our ability to take care of ourselves and the people that we love if we ever need to take off for a moment from work? So when you tell us this is too big, what parts of ourselves are you asking us to cut? And we say no more, no cuts to care. And furthermore, every time we have to show up to care for each other, every time someone is sick and a home care worker has to show up, we show up every time and time, day after day. We show up to deliver, right? We show up to deliver care. We show up to deliver quality concern. We show up to deliver the things that we know our families and communities need. And time again, we show up to deliver the vote for the folks that are sitting there talking about the issues that impact our lives. And so we're here today to say it is time for them to deliver. We deliver day to day, and it's time for them to deliver, and care can't wait. And once and for all, our families and our communities are no longer coming for a piece of the pie. You're not going to make us choose between child care and wages. You're not going to make us choose between health care and paid family and medical leave. We're no longer accepting your offering for a slice of the pie. Not only do we want the whole pie, we want the bakery. Okay? We want the land that the bakery is built on. And that's what the Build Back Better plan starts to establish for us. It starts to see us as the whole person, and it offers us more than a slice of the pie. That's why it's time to deliver, and that's why care can't wait. And that's why I'm a proud member, and Family Values at Work is a proud member of the Care Can't Wait campaign. And I'm going to always show up when April tells me to show up, when Ijen tells me to show up. Thank you.
Not only does Josie show up, she shows out. She shows out. So I'm going to close us out, but I just want to say what an amazing day. My heart is full, and I hope you feel it in your spirit. I hope that you got something today that you're going to take back to you, and I'm talking to the workers in the room specifically. I hope you were able to feel the love that the people that came to this room have for you and have for the work that you do. For too long, you have been demeaned, disrespected, devalued, diminished. It is our time. Care cannot wait. You cannot wait. It's time to deliver. It's our moment. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. And there is one person who got away without coming to this mic, and I'm going to let her get away with it. But I will not walk out of this room without thanking and holding up the leadership of Mary Kay Henry. We all stand on her shoulders. All right, let's go get it, you all.